What's up, guys? Welcome to Unlocked again. So here for your weekly stuff. So I wanted to talk about last night. So I was very fortunate last night. Me and my wife had a mentor of ours, people we really look up to, and they were at our house talking to some of our friends, and it was just cool to hear from them. We don't get to hear from them all the time, and it was great. Associating with people, just getting around people, especially now the country coming back to more, the election, Trump just won the election. And so country's like in a weird state. It's always just good to get around people and people you like, people that stretch you and just make you better, and I think that's something that we need to look at more. It's like, hey, how much of my time am I spending with people that are better? I always used to think go through your last 10 text messages or missed calls or phone calls that you have on your phone. And how many of those 10 people are actually people that are making you better, people that are in better positions in life than you are. So if you have, people that are in better positions in life, maybe financially, maybe it's health or fitness, maybe it's in relational marriage world, or in really whatever worries you, maybe it's in their career, financially. And if none of the last 10 people that you randomly just looked at your phone and the last 10 people in your messages or phone call log, if it's zero, then this is bad. You need to fix it. If it's more than 2 or 3, then you're doing good. But I would recommend having at least 5 people that you consistently talk to that are in some way, shape, or form at this moment in life. It doesn't have to be forever, in a position that's better than what you're doing now. And that's worked for me. I've always tried to keep that in mind. And yesterday was one of those days for us where we had a bunch of people over to our house and we just hung out, and it was pretty cool. And I was reminded, a lot of times, I deal, in the sales world, we deal with, obviously, confidence is the thing that sells the most. And somebody could have no idea what they're selling, but if they're confident in it, they're probably going to sell. And people normally struggle with that the most. And it's a variation of, people in their maybe first month or second month after they get comfortable with selling and they go into a little slump, they start changing the pitch and they start thinking about all these things when really it's a lack of enthusiasm or the lack of confidence that is the only thing that is actually changed. And it's so hard to build somebody's confidence if they don't participate in it. It's impossible. And I was always taught that repetition is the father of confidence. So when somebody practices 150 times, whatever it is that they do, they're going to be 150 times more confident than somebody that doesn't practice. And too often, once we do get results, which are derived from a consistent effort of enthusiasm and confidence, then our repetition and our effort go down because naturally, you see results, you like the results you're getting, and your confidence is there, but then you attach your results to your confidence, and then the confidence goes down as the results go down. The reason the results go down is because there's a lack of enthusiasm, or it's not the newest thing I'm doing. It's no longer a new thing, a passion. It's now more of a discipline that I have to keep. And so I was reminded yesterday that there's multiple ways that you can hurt or build your own confidence. And I think the easiest one that I've ever learned is really to do your 5 dailies and do a little bit of 5 little daily disciplines. What I want to encourage you to do if you're working on building confidence in any sector is pick 5 things that you can do every day. And then you either have every day you get to do them. So for example, you can do daily affirmations or, and as simple as it sounds, I'm talking to people that are like multimillionaires. They go in the mirror and they do their affirmation, or maybe it's reading affirmations, listening to a podcast, or some sort of way of furthering your growth. Maybe it's making some sort of money-making activity, MMA, right? Something that in your job, career, business moves the needle forward toward some level of money or growth. Maybe it's spiritual time. If you're a spiritual person, whatever it is, maybe it's quality time with your spouse, but 5 dailies. And every single day you promise to yourself, to do these 5 daily things. And it has to be a daily thing. And the way to build confidence in anything derives from you or me doing these 5 daily things. It's one of the multiple ways to build confidence. because you promise yourself you're going to do 5 things. And every single day you have a chance to either keep this promise or to break the promise. And it's so funny how it works. And I think especially more, I'm sure it works for anybody, but I think more for men, for dudes out there, that there's so much pressure and there's so much stress on you, and you're supposed to be the provider, and you're supposed to do all these things, and you're supposed to be better than your family and what they brought you and how they, kind of led you into this world, and you want to beat that and you want to prove all these people wrong. And the reality is that after the first few weeks of excitement, of not passion, but excitement and confidence and results, the only thing that's left is discipline. And what I found is that it's extremely hard to do it if you don't do things like this. In my case, I thought of, I was reminded yesterday, something like the 5 dailies. So when you look at keeping the promise to yourself, or maybe one day you skip reading, you skip listening to a podcast, or you skip whatever it is that you skip, you get to break the promise. And every time you break the promise, your confidence in yourself, your self-image, your self-esteem goes down. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-esteem goes up. And I think it's crucial. And the problem is that it's just so simple. And it's just that all you have to do. The thing is that you have to do it for years. I always think about 1,000 days. It takes you at least 1,000 days to actually see any results in your level of confidence in whatever endeavor of consistently doing the same thing over and over. So, for example, reading. And it was, I think, 2021. I went through a personal development and a growth change personally that is propelled me and my family really to what it was for me unimaginable in terms of, career levels, and in terms of really what I wanted to do for my life and my family. I keep discovering new goals to hit. And when I look back and I realized, I'm not special. I read 5 minutes a day, maybe 10 minutes. Some days I'll do 30 minutes a day. But at the end of the day, I promised to myself that I would read every single day of my life. And some days I don't really even remember anything. And you might say, what a waste of time, but it's only 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes, 10 minutes that I'm not scrolling on my phone. And it's a lot more about the discipline that I've built. I remember perfectly. I think so it's November of 2024 right now when we're recording this. And I remember making this promise to myself September of 2021. And since then, since September of 2021, I think I've missed reading a physical book, not an audiobook, I think less than 5 times. I definitely remember the last time it was March 31st of 2023. And those days, it's so funny how your brain will remember more the things you miss versus the other 1,000 days that I've done well. As an optimist and positive person I am, I still only remember, and it's tattooed in my brain, the day I missed. Because we're just designed to, punish ourselves and survive. And so, but I look back and I'm like, man, so much of my strength, so much of my confidence, so much of my, I do a lot of speaking lately. So much of that comes from, I've just been reading every day. And sure, some days I don't remember. Some days I'm tired. There's been a few days that just to keep my promise, this might sound radical to you, but for me, it was more about the promise to not be broken to myself. Because I realized I can't keep a promise to myself. How am I supposed to go tell my wife that I'm keeping a promise to her? How am I supposed to go tell my team that I'm keeping a promise to them? How am I supposed to tell my parents that I'm keeping a promise if I can't keep a promise to myself? And I remember a few days my son being born, and we were staying somewhere in some hotel, and it was really dark. I did not want to, I got to the room later after my wife and my son, and they were asleep. And I did not want to wake my son up, because you do not want to wake your son up when he's a baby and he finally falls to sleep. And I remember reading in the bathroom. I think I read 1 page, and I was standing in the bathroom reading this book just so that I could tell myself that I read. I don't remember at all. I don't remember what book, but I remember I read. And I remember I kept my promise, and I didn't want to do it, but I felt proud. And I just look back now and I'm like, dude, I've done the same with so many of the other things. If you can figure out your way around fitness and do something like that, commit to 2 days a week or 3 days a week of doing an exercise or doing something. I realized that it's what's built a lot of my personal confidence overall. And yesterday I was listening to, like I said, a couple of mentors of me and my wife, and Tyler and Amanda, their names, and they are extremely successful. They have business areas. They do all these great. They have a huge following. They're in their mid-30s. They have 3 children, so they're more advanced in life than us. They've been married for, I'm going to say, 8 years, 9 years. And they were talking about, hey, when we fall off track, we go back to the basics. We go back to who's our last 10 people on our phone checklist? Are we actually hanging out with people that are better? They go back to doing their daily affirmations. And if you don't speak to your brain is going to speak to you. You can't control that so much. They go back to reading every day. They go back to listening to a podcast every day. And I just realized that no matter how you want to look at it, repetition is the father of confidence. So as simple as it sounds, if you want to be confident, if you want to create confidence in any area of your life, repeat that every day. And it's going to take thousands of days, probably 1,000 days until you are a subject matter expert on that. And most people just fail on lasting 1,000 days. Everybody can do the simple task once, twice, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, but it's very hard to keep it. And I think it's so much more noble to become good at the little things and sticking with them. Like, I think it's so much more powerful that I read 5 minutes a day, that I'm sure there's some people out there, or 10 minutes a day, but I'm sure there's people out there that read 1 book a week. And I would love to read 1 book a week, but that's just not me. I just read every day, and I never miss, and I never skip. I don't skip Sundays. I don't skip any day. And it's sometimes hard. Sometimes my routine is messed up. If I travel, I always figure a way. And I don't, because again, it's not about reading. It's not about what I learn, which I try learning. I take notes on the books I read, but it's about, I don't want to break a promise that I made to myself. And so if you're out there thinking, okay, well, how do I raise I don't have a good self-confidence of myself. I don't have a good self-image. You might think of me that I've always had it. And it's not true. I was the most insecure person when I was, 17, 18 years old, 20, 21, all through my 20s. And, I think a lot of it comes from, well, I've been doing something for 2,000 days. You try doing anything for 2,000 days. And if you're not confident after, then, I definitely give you a ticket to quit, because you probably can't prove that. So if you have low self-esteem, low self-image, you tell yourself that you're not capable, that I'm not good at something. And too many times you tell yourself, too many times in the sales world, I hear people say, I'm just not a salesperson. I'm not good at sales. And I always ask the same question back. I'm like, well, how many hours have you spent on sales training? I go, well, I've never spent any hours on sales training. I'm like, okay, so then why would it make any sense for you to be good at sales? You've never trained on it. It's like me saying I'm a bad airplane pilot. Well, I've never tried piloting a plane. I've never done any courses or classes. So how would it make sense for me to just magically be an expert at flying planes? It makes no sense. So anytime you tell yourself you're not good at something, ask yourself, did I actually spend any time developing that trait? No. So why would you be good at it? Because you're comparing yourself, and sometimes you compare yourself on your weak spot, on something you're new at, to somebody else's strength. Like, if I compare myself to Tiger Woods playing golf, then I'm going to develop a really bad self-esteem. If I look at it positively, I'm going to create a great competitive spirit. But if I don't have any self-confidence, I'm going to dig myself and drive a wedge in the confidence gap. So I would encourage you, if you want to raise your self-esteem, you want to raise your self-image, how you think of yourself, and you just want to become good at something, pick 5 daily habits, the 5 dailies. Pick 5 daily things that you can commit to daily and promise to yourself, and you won't break it. And every day you have a chance to keep your promise to yourself, or you have a chance to break that promise. That's all I got. Hope that helps.